Now, the most dilemma most people go through is knowing the best business to start with, even as a beginner. Now, this hit home because I had a personal encounter with one of a friend who started her provision store right in front of her house. And the idea came singularly because her neighbor's shop was a provision store and a larger around the shop. And she was making waves with that provision store because her store was full from top to bottom. She actually bought an extended shop and started selling water products like pure water and water dispenser. So that gave her the reason or the reality check for her to open her provision store. But was she right or wrong? She was completely, of course, because Alaja already had the largest share of customers from that area because a lot of people had already started shopping with her. So when my friend actually opened her store, I was patronizing her singularly because the Alhaja was sort of rude and cruel in her approach, and she was more jovial, bubbly, friendly. So that really made me patronize her and got to know her story. But to understand that critically, at some point, of course, it's expected for her store not to do so well. So eventually she locked her shop and she noticed that she couldn't compete with Alhaja's market. I think 2 years down the line, I noticed that she started, her store was null and void, nothing was happening there. Then eventually she met me one day as I was just going by to buy something, and she told me that she wanted to start her baking shop. And I was like, that's a great idea. If you want to start a shop that you sell snacks and all that. She said, yeah, that's what she wants to venture into, that she's been looking in that line. And I said, okay, that's wonderful. And I gave her some form of encouragement, and she did. Eventually her shop started making sales because when she started with a bang, and a lot of people started swooning onto her shop and started buying from her because she had the package. And then eventually Alhaja's shop was slowly running down because a lot of people were not patronizing Alhaja again, and she was closing her shop most of the time. And that gave me the reality check that, okay, she was making low sales because there were already big giants in the supermarkets like the Jendol and Just Right that had already opened around the corner. In the area, we already have big supermalls around. So they would certainly go for that because there is more variety and there are lower product prices in those supermarkets. So a lot of people were going to those areas rather than going to her shop. So now this makes me tell you that starting a business doesn't necessitate that you're going to make profit. No. Apparently, there are high chances for you to even start out and then not even make much profit from it. Okay, because you're just starting. So you don't really have as much experience in that business that would make you adequate for you to make profit. But one thing you should understand that, and I would strongly recommend, is for you to start out with an investment that would bring in returns for you, and then from that profit, which is the returns, you can now use it to start out that business and start with a test rather than starting with your capital. Because if you do have the capital, why not start with an investment that will give you the profit, and from that profit use it to start the business, because you're now already running that in a safe place.